Hello everybody, welcome to computerhandle.com. In this lecture, we're going to put on what we learned for the past 3 lectures and we're going to put it all together on one paper to see really how a flowchart forms. So to recap, we started off with the basics of flowchart and we understood the flowchart symbols using this checkboard right here. Alright, then we started off with data types. Alright, and detail is mentioned here that we have numbers, integer, real, alphabets, multiple, string, char, character, single, alright, with single speech marks, here double speech marks, and it can also be numbers but cannot perform mathematical calculations. Alright, and then we have a boolean, yes or no, and then of course we have a time, but we aren't going to use the time right now. Alright, and the third thing, and these data types are also listed right here. The third thing we learned was assignment. Like so, we explained you the assignment and how it works and how the value of the variable changes as we assign it a constant value to it. Alright, and we also went through over the difference between an integer or a real using the mathematical calculation and assignment thing. Alright, and we then, after the assignment, we started off with mathematical operators. And the only thing new to this is the modulus, which instead returns the remainder instead of the divisor. Alright, now keeping all of these things in mind, we are now going to start designing our own programs. Alright, so let's get started off with a simple program. So let's suppose our first question, alright, or our first task, I'll write it as task 1, alright. Let's suppose our first task is to create a program where you input a number and it will give you an output of 5 times the new number. Alright, so let's get started off. So first of all, we have to start the program. Alright, so we'll write start, similar to the start we wrote right here. Alright, then after we wrote start, then we have to, because our objective is to take in number, is to take in the process, the input. Alright, then for the computer to implement the process on it. In this case it's times 5, in this case it's times 2, in this case we have to do times 5. Alright, and then we have an output, sorry, this is plus 2, this is times 5, and then we have to output the answer. Alright, so start, then we will say input. Alright, any variable, we'll give it any name. Alright, let's suppose we'll give it again the usual mathematical name as x. Alright, let's say it inputs x. Alright, after it inputs x, it will perform a process, and the process is to multiply the x by 5. So using our knowledge from the assignment and the mathematical operators, we're going to give the x a new value, which is going to be the previous x times 5. Remember, in computer science and programming, we use an asterisk instead of the cross sign for multiplication. Alright, so this is the process. Then we need to output the new value of x, which will be going to be our answer. Alright, so let's suppose I write output x, and here our process is complete, and then we have to end the program, of course. So we've got to start. Alright, we start the program, then we say input a value, then the computer performs the process, and then we have to output the value, and then the program ends. Alright, now let's use the data from here to draw shapes on it. Alright, we know that start and end is always a circle or an oval, so we'll draw this without hesitation. Now we know that here we're taking an input and here we're taking an output, and this is always a parallelogram. Alright, so we're going to draw a parallelogram like so. Alright, and then this is a process, and we're going to write and draw a rectangle over it. And here our process is complete and a flowchart designed for our question is complete task 1. All right, now let's have a dry run over it. All right, let's suppose that we have started the program and it says us to input x. All right, let's suppose we input the value called 2. All right, let's suppose the value of x is 2. Then the old value of x is 2. It will be multiplied by the value of 5 to give the new value of x, which will be 10. This x is 2, the old value of 2. This will get multiplied by the 5 to get the new value of x, which will be 10. And this new value of x, the 10, will be outputted here and will be returned to the user, and then the program will end. All right, let's create a similar task again, but this time let it have a decision maker in it. All right, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. This will require a lot of space, so I'm expanding a little bit like so. All right, so let's suppose we start program. All right, and then let's suppose that our task this time is to input a number which will be the age of the person. All right, it will be the age of really the person, and it will tell the person, it will inform the person whether you're eligible to apply for a driving license or not. All right, and of course, as we know, according to the international standards in many countries, the minimum age requirement to apply for a driving license is of course 18 years old. So we're going to use that data to create a program, the flowchart of a program here, which is going to ask the user for an input, his age. Then it's going to perform the process and the decision making, that whether you're eligible to apply for a driving license or not. And then it's going to output and tell you, yes, you're eligible, or no, you're not eligible. All right, so let's get started. We have a start. Then, of course, we have input x. All right, this time we actually used x, so I'm going to use y this time, the name of the variable. Then we have a decision maker. All right, and the decision maker will see if the value of y is less than 18 or equal to more than 18. All right, so we're going to write this as is y less than 18. All right, and the question mark. Is y less than 18? And keep in mind, from decision maker, you always have two resulting arrows. All right, one for yes and one for no. All right, so let's write the no part here and let's write the yes part here. All right, so is y is equal to 18? It's smaller than 18. If y is smaller than 18, then we're going to say to the user that no, you're not eligible. Else, otherwise, if y is not less than 18, then it obviously means that it's 18 or more, which means that the person then will be eligible to apply for a driving license. So essentially, we're checking if the person is under 18 or not. All right, so is he under 18? Yes. So we're going to, let's say, output a series of characters telling the user that no, you're not eligible. So I'll just write not eligible. All right, in double quotations as well, we discussed right here, this part. All right. Else, if the person's age is 18 or over, we're going to say output eligible. All right, you can write any friendly text messages. You are not eligible to apply. You are eligible to apply. You can even have full-on sentences, but just for the sake of saving space here, we're gonna do it such so. All right, then, of course, once we've got our output, we have to end the program. We'll end it like so. But there's something missing. What about this? This part also has to end. So we'll create an arrow, and like we did somewhere else, I don't remember, but I think we covered it up. We draw an arrow joining it here before the end part. All right, so now it's time to draw the shapes. So without any doubt, we know that start and end is an oval or circle, so that will be circle. Then we have an input and an output process. We've got two outputs and one input, which is of course a parallelogram. So we'll create a parallelogram at an input, And two parallelograms, these are going to be big parallelograms. We're going to create two parallelograms at an output of not eligible and an output of eligible. All right. And then of course we're going to create our decision maker, the diamond box, like so. All right. It ain't neat. It's not neat, but I think it's pretty understandable. And this is our flowchart. Now let's drive in it by including a sample value. All right. So let's say we start a program. We input the value y. Let's suppose the value of y is 19. All right. Is y less than 18? So for the sake of comparison, you can assume that the value of y is 19, all right? And the real value we need to check it through is 18. So 19 less than 18. Is it true or not? Of course, this is a false claim, all right? No. This is, by the way, the Boolean data type we discussed right here, yes or no. And it'll actually decide by depending on the data you inputted, whether it will be yes or no. And is 19 smaller than 18? No, it's not. We're going to move to this side. We'll output that you are eligible to apply for driving license, and then it's going to go here and end the program. Else, let's suppose our age is 12. All right. We input the value 12. Then we compare 12 less than 18. All right. This one was no. But is 12 less than 18? Yes, 12 is less than 18. So we're going to go through the yes part instead of the no part. Then we're going to output not eligible. And then we're going to end the program like so. And this is our task completed. All right. And here we can set up many infinite questions. And this part, this flowchart designing skills, can be even used to solve real world problems, real life problems which exist. All right. And this is how logically we're going to think and implement our knowledge to design a flowchart which will be a solution to a program. All right. Of course, first, when you're designing a flowchart, it may have flaws. But that's why you say the flowchart is a blueprint of a program, because you're designing the program itself before you actually write the code, which is something we're going to do in paper, rough pseudocode later in the series. All right, so that's it for this lecture. Thank you very much.